When we find ourselves in those habitual patterns, living in a state of doing, achieving, and controlling, our body and our nervous system lose the capacity to receive, to be held, to allow, and to surrender. Because ultimately, it is a body and a nervous system that does not feel safe. Welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast with me, Rebecca Wilson. If you believe that fertile energy, creative power, and embodied, resourced, nourished women will change the world, then you are in the right place. This is a space to support you to arrive deeper into relationship with yourself and your body, to explore the multifaceted experience of womanhood. It is my mission to guide women back into connection with their natural essence, to become the living embodiment of their true nature. Are you ready to join a community of women who are taking responsibility for our lives, our energy, women who are centered and rooted in ourselves, connected to our womb space, and deeply nourished on a cellular level? If so, let's begin into this week's episode. Welcome to the community, my love. Hello, my love. Welcome back to the podcast. In today's episode, we're diving deep into the restoration of feminine receptivity. Now, this is something that I must speak to and with often to many women in my world and many women who I support and who journey alongside me. How do we learn to receive? What is feminine receptivity? So I wanted to take you on a journey today of understanding this pattern on a somatic and psychological level a little bit deeper. And maybe you will resonate with parts of it yourself too. So when we take this journey of restoring receptivity, we're going on a journey of returning to a deep, nurturing softness within our own bodies, arriving back into the body, into our own wisdom, and recultivating a space of safety inside of that place. Throughout that process, we must take a journey of releasing the many habitual patterns and behaviors that we find ourselves in, particularly for women. What I witness is women living in a state of force, push, manipulation, and striving in their lives. And these are all energies on a somatic level that end up being tightly wound in the body and create a tightly wound nervous system. Now, naturally, these patterns are at play in a body that has been in a state of stress or survival for a very long time, a body that is undernourished and therefore disconnected from that more soft, warm epicenter that is inside of us all. These patterns show up in a body that is unable to connect to the flow of emotion and sensation, to the aliveness of oneself, and therefore the more deeper feminine essence and nature. When we find ourselves in those habitual patterns, living in a state of doing, achieving, and controlling, our body and our nervous system lose the capacity to receive, to be held, to allow, and to surrender. Because ultimately, it is a body and a nervous system that does not feel safe. And when we're in that state, our muscles tighten, energy contracts, and the mind fills with strategies and calculations, all of which are seeking safety in control. And that uses up an incredible amount of energy and resource from the body. When we become aware that we have possibly been living in such patterns, unable to receive, not feeling safe to receive, in a state of earning consciousness where we believe we need to earn the right to receive love, kindness, compassion, abundance, pleasure, or anything that's aligned with receptivity. And the unraveling of that is to, first of all, become aware of the strategies that fill our minds, the coping mechanisms that we've put in place, and the stories that we so tightly hold on to, that we believe about ourselves, the world, other people, in order to prove our narratives right over and over again. So with that awareness is to begin to unravel the patterns, the stories, the narratives, the past life experiences, the identities that we have taken on board. And in doing so, we're able to return to a more balanced and grounded place, to cultivate some safety within, which then will guide us into a state of openness, softness, and allowing. It's very challenging to be open, soft, and in a state of allowing when we are also in a state of freeze, shutdown, survival, disconnection, and feeling undernourished or undernurtured. So they are all things that we must look to give ourselves and receive from ourselves too. But when we do soften into that place of allowing, we find that we return to a natural pulse of feminine energy, not from a place of force or push, but from a place of presence and deep connection to ourselves. As we begin to embody receptivity, we are asked on a somatic level to release the deeply ingrained patterns of push, force, and manipulation. Often we are living in patterns of muscling our way through life, forcing our will upon situations and other people, or consciously or unconsciously manipulating our environment, ourselves, or the people that we may be in relationship with to get our need to feel safe met. However, that need can only really be met inside of ourselves. We do not need to force, push, or manipulate our external reality or others or life itself when we are rooted in our bodies, connected, and cultivating safety from that place. These patterns are survival mechanisms, naturally, which occur when we have felt unsafe, when we have experienced upset, conflict, trauma. They develop over time through the experiences that we have, but they are most often rooted in history. They are rooted in fear, scarcity, and the need to force or control or manipulate our external world and reality. To begin to unwind them is to bring compassionate awareness to the parts of ourselves that hold these energies, that hold the stories and the beliefs and the narratives that we must act in these ways to be safe, that we must earn, and that it is not safe or we are not able to receive from ourselves, from life, or from others. So if you recognize these patterns within yourself, you can begin the journey of unwinding them by just noticing the thoughts, patterns, feelings, sensations as they arise. Notice how they feel in your body, where they are creating tightness, restriction, contraction. It is with awareness that we can begin to invite these places to soften, using practices of somatic awareness, embodiment, movement, guided somatic and visual meditation, breathing, and therapeutic coaching. As we lean into these practices with awareness, keeping them as body-centered practices. So what that means is staying in the body whilst in the practice. We can begin to repattern our nervous system. We repattern it out of the old beliefs, thoughts, and identities, and reorient those patterns into a state of flow. and trust of life. We move out of a place of needing to force or control and into a place of surrender and trust. Naturally, what I have witnessed in many women's journeys as they take this unfolding is that they begin to trust that their value does not live in how much they do or achieve, but in their beingness, in their presence, in their capacity to hold and be held, in their capacity to give and receive. True receptivity arrives from a body that is nourished, a nervous system that feels safe and regulated, and an energetic body that is open and available for connection, that can feel calm and regulated, that can also hold boundary when needed, and a body that is able to express its needs, desires fully and clearly. Naturally, when we go on this journey, we can want to try to bring that pattern of force and push into our healing and integration. But this is not a journey of that. It's not one of acquiring or striving. It asks us to gently return to the body, to listen, to nurture, to be with ourselves more deeply and fully. Because there is a well of wisdom within us all. And when we create the space to listen, the answers and the guidance will always arrive to us. This is then a place that we can soften into the body and out of contraction. Naturally, we move into trusting that quiet voice of intuition. An allowance of feeling our feelings, sensations, and emotions without judgment can arise. And here lives a state of receptivity with self and with life. And this is where your feminine energy can flourish. You cultivate a fertile ground of presence and grace within your own body, a place where you can feel open, relaxed, centered, and grounded. You open to become a vessel where life just gets to flow through you. The essence of feminine receptivity is not to do to force, but to simply be and allow. And in that allowing, we hold space for the fullness of life in its complete flow. Because this theme is so present within the many women that I have spoken to over the years that I have been holding space, I felt the call to create a container dedicated to supporting women to cultivate a sacred garden or temple within themselves. This is Return to Eden. It's a 4-month group journey which begins on February the 5th. We will explore through themes of embodiment, somatic awareness, meditation, resourcing practices, connection, sharing, reflection, and so much more. What it means to cultivate a steady state within the body, a regulated and grounded nervous system, a body that is overflowing in resource and energy, and how to cultivate safety within yourself so that you can unravel and break free from patterns of force, push, control, and manipulation. So you can liberate yourself into living a life connected to the divine flow of grace that is available to us all. It is in that surrendered state of openness, safety, and allowing that true miracles can begin to unfold. And I'm so honored and excited to be guiding the women that step into this space on that journey. This is a limited capacity container. I have decided to take a maximum of 10 women only, which is a very small group for my work. But I have decided this for many different reasons, but ultimately for the care, attention, and intimacy that I know we all crave when we are in spaces such as this. The details of Return to Eden are linked in the show notes of this episode, so you can scroll on down and click that to explore more. As always, if you're feeling that call, just listen and trust that pulse within you. If you have any questions, please do write to me, connect with me. I'm here to support you in any way that I can. I am not sure that this will be ran again. It just feels like a for now experience and journey. It doesn't feel like it's calling to be ran again, as sometimes I do repeat my offerings. But this came to me in what I would call a very quiet season of my life, where I was working through a lot of patterns of nurture, restoration, healing, receptivity, allowance, and surrender to life. I was gifted with this journey and these insights, so it feels very true and alive now. So within that, what I am sharing is, if you're feeling the call, now is the time. Within the journey, you will also receive a individual onboarding call and offboarding call, just for us to get to know one another a little bit more, to connect, share before we begin the group journey and also close out the space at the other side. So as I said, link is in the show notes, scroll on down. And if you are one of the women, the 10 women that are joining us, I so welcome you into the space. And yeah, spaces are already filling up, so take it while you can. But for now, sending love and hoping that you have a beautiful day. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you loved this episode, please share it far and wide with your sisterhood and community. You can dive deep into all of my offerings via rebecca-wilson.com. Links to all offerings are below in the show notes of this episode. If you would love to support the podcast, please like, subscribe, download, and share the episodes so my work and this message can reach more women around the world. Remember, my love, you are here to live a life fully, deeply inhabiting your body and your divine nature. I am here to show you how. Hey love, I'm just dropping in to share that the doors are open for the waitlist for the next round of Embodied Woman group mentorship. This is a journey like no other, a deep dive into embodiment, somatic awareness, self-honoring and healing practices, the journey of remineralization, awakening your feminine energy and restoring the resources within your heart, body, wombs, cells, and overall vitality. This is my signature program, which launches twice a year. There are limited spaces for the intake. If you're feeling the call, head on down to the show notes in this episode, click the link and join the waitlist where you will receive more information soon. Hope you enjoyed the episode of this podcast. Sending you so much love. Have a beautiful, vital, and nourishing day.